Folks, welcome to our bi-weekly basketball review. I'm here with Coach Blancett. Thank you to all of our sponsors, Larson Heating and Cooling, All Services Air Service. They do a great job, and they make this possible. And if you don't get the opportunity to come to a game, make sure you tune in online. Go to YouTube, Nixa Public Schools. Our Nixa Live crew does a phenomenal job at camera angles and just calling the basketball game, even when they do pick on our coaches. They do a great job, and we are so excited that our sponsors have allowed us to do that. So with that, I'm here with Coach Blancett, head coach for the Nixa Eagles. Coach, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to do this. And as we sit here right now, we're 12-0. And we'll talk to Corey Kemp here a little later, and I'm going to ask him this. I don't think any of us are surprised, but I think some of us are pleasantly surprised at the level of play that we've been able to accomplish every night. Against big teams and against teams that we don't know much about. But the greatest accomplishment so far is the blue and gold. Haven't won that since 2014. How special was that trophy to you?
Really, I was more happy for the kids. I've been fortunate enough as a player and assistant coach to win it a few times, and I was really happy with our players because we don't have a kid in our program that had won blue and gold until this year. So it's kind of surprising, honestly, when they said it's been 8 years. I didn't know it had been that long. We've had some tough losses over there, but it was a good week. Our guys played well, and I'm extremely happy for them. I know that was one of their goals coming into the season, is they wanted to win the blue and gold, and they, that was one of their goals, and they set out to do, and they did it.
Well, you accomplished that, and we're going to talk about that. Some of the conversations that you had during that Fairgrove game that was so close, at half, and we'll talk about that later. But tell me how excited you are, and I know that's something that you always do really well is you make it about the kids, and we all appreciate that. Tell me how excited you are to be so successful this early.
I am honestly not surprised that we're having the season, I say we, that they're having. I fully expected it. I don't think anybody else in the area did, because we lost a lot of kids. There's no doubt about it. Kale Noah played significant minutes last year, but other than that, nobody else really did. So I think there was a lot of question marks for a lot of the area, maybe community. I am not shocked. Records are what they are. If we're 10-2 or 9-3, it still is what it is. I just knew that we were going to have a successful season, and I knew we were going to win our share of games. And we played and won a lot of close games too. And that's what is going to help us down the road, because obviously our season is going to get tougher and tougher. We're going to play a lot of close games, and I'm sure tonight against Ozark will be another one. So it's been fun so far. Tonight will be the halfway point, the Ozark game, and it's just crazy how fast the season just flies by. So 26 regular season games, we're about halfway there already.
Yeah, big game tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Like you said, Ozark's always going to be someone who's going to play their best when they play Nixa. And having it at their place, it's that atmosphere is tremendous there. So there's a pressure that comes from winning, right? There's also a pressure that comes from losing, and they can be two different pressures. How do you keep the perspective of being successful and going to work every single day in practice? And then the second part of this question is, how do you keep the players, and what do you make sure that the players know to keep things in perspective? Hey, we've got to keep working hard. We've got to keep showing up in the gym every week. How do you do that? What are you doing to keep that all in focus?
I think some of that, I'd say our team in particular, they don't really get too up or too down. If you've been to our practices or in the locker rooms before, during, or after a game, they're pretty even keel. So I don't think you'd come in our locker room really know if we won or lost the game, which is a good attribute to our guys. I think they just, really they're just having fun, and I think they just want to continue having fun as long this year as we can, hopefully in March. But I don't know. Our guys really every day in practice is kind of the same thing. We try to make our practices as fun as possible. I think that keeps them fresh for games, and hopefully they just keep having fun. And I think that's some of the success that we've had. I think our guys are having a good time, which you and I have talked about it. I think having fun is important in sports in general. I think we as coaches sometimes can take that to a point to where it's not fun anymore for kids. And, we started playing sports when we were young because it was fun. And if it's not fun, then they're not going to want to come to practice and come to games. So that's one of the goals that I have, is to make it enjoyable for the players.
Well, it shows, and we're going to talk to Corey Kemp a little bit later, and that's one of the questions we have for him, is that chemistry that they have on the floor. Sometimes you see that, like you said, we had some really good players, and we lost some really good players last year. And we've had good players in the past where they've been successful, but they just don't have that chemistry on the floor. We're going to talk to Corey about that a little bit later, but it sounds like that starts, in the locker room and on the floor in practice.
Well, one, we have 9 seniors. So that's a huge number. Basketball-wise, I'd say most years we'll have 3 to 4. Some years a little more, a little less. But to have 9's a lot. And I think that has a lot to do with it. These guys have been in the program for a lot of years, so there's really nothing they've not seen. It may be me as the head coach, but there's still a lot of the same things we're doing that's the same. Some it's not. But I think that's one reason these guys get along so well and gel so well with so many seniors on the team.
Yeah, and it's that tradition that continues, right, with Eagle basketball and Eagle athletics, across the board. So I want to talk about the blue and gold, the Fairgrove games specifically. The first 2 games, we pretty well got through those, very successful, which we were all glad to see. Come to the Fairgrove game, we knew they were going to be good. We knew it was going to be a different style of play. We knew they had a really good post player. When you guys went into halftime, the game was close. It wasn't a high-scoring game. The game's close. What did you tell your players? What was your conversations at halftime?
It's a little bit like Parkview. I knew Fairgrove was going to kind of hold it. I knew they were going to really slow it down, try to win in the 40s. So at halftime, I just basically said, I'm done chasing them around. We're going to start going scramble defense, and we're just going to double them all over the court. And if they make shots, they make shots. But if nothing else, it's going to get the game sped up a little bit. And they're not going to be able to run their offense the way that they want. So we just decided, as a coaching staff, that we're just going to start getting after them. And if we get burned a few times, then so be it. I wish I would have started the game doing that if I had to do it all over again. I thought we would guard them a little bit better than we did the first half. But I thought, their offense got us stagnant the way that they played, and it slowed us down on offense too. We weren't making shots. Not making shots affects your defense. So basically at halftime, we just decided we're just going to stop chasing around man. We're just going to start doubling the ball everywhere it goes, and whatever happens, happens. And I thought it worked the second half. Devin Kemp, I thought, came in, and I thought he was the MVP of the game. Devin maybe doesn't always play as many minutes as maybe other games, but that game, he was the difference in the game. I know you can say, well, Kale had 26. Well, obviously that was important. But Devin was a huge spark, had a couple big buckets for us, had a couple steals, and he was the absolute difference in the game in that one. So
and we've talked about that, how important our bench is to the play of the game, even though they don't start. And he's a younger player, he's a junior. Didn't see hardly any varsity last year. Played a lot of JV, and we've got a really good JV program as a feeder into your varsity program. But that is key, and we talked about that as how important that bench is to those kids, and even to the players on the floor. Because not all of your starting five is going to be on every week, right? They're not going to be on every night, and to have someone on the bench like that that can come in and spark that flame.
Those guys, Devin, Carson Saito's called him instant offense. I swear every time he comes in, he immediately hits a 3. And Devin, those 2 guys it's just different. They have a little spark to them. We've got 9 and 10 guys that can play, and it's tough. I go home every night thinking, I should have played this kid a little more, should have played that. And there's no way you can play 10 or 11 guys the same. It's just impossible. And so we just do the best we can. I always tell our guys on the bench, you better be ready when your number's called. You can't be down there upset about your minutes you're playing, because when I call your number, you better be ready to go. And our guys have been absolutely phenomenal at that. Every game, look, Daniel McCoy started up at Liberty North in their tournament. Started and played well that game. You just never know with our guys. We play different kids all the time, and so far our bench has been great. I think that's one of the biggest reasons we are 12-0, is our bench guys have been incredible.
Well, I think it shows, and I think it shows as a testament to you and how the kids have bought into the program, knowing that, I may not start, but I am going to get a chance. And that keeps them working hard in practice, and it shows on the floor. So let's talk about tonight. Ozark Tigers.
What's tonight?
Yeah, what's tonight? Where is it? You know, who are we going to play? So what have you guys done this week to prepare for what Schweitzer's going to give us? Because you know he's going
Yeah.
to prepare. He's a great coach. He's going to have the kids ready. He's going to execute as best as he can. What have you guys done this week?
You know, it's been a long week. We haven't played since the blue and gold. We've been off for 12 days, which is a little bit concerning coming into the game tonight. It's been a little bit of a break. I suspect they're going to probably try to slow it down, which is what a lot of teams are trying to do to us this year. They don't really want to run it down the floor with us. So I suspect they're going to probably slow it down, run 30 or 40 seconds each possession. I could be wrong. We'll see. The key tonight is going to be getting out to a good start. You know, if you can get up on a team like Ozark 8 to 10, a team who I think is going to slow it down, it kind of takes away that pace of play that they want to play.
Yeah.
I mean, if they get down early, they're just going to have to say, well, forget it, we're just going to start playing, which is in our favor. So I think getting out to a good start is key. It's a dangerous game. You know, record-wise, you know, the record's not where they would like it to be. They've been in every game they've played except for 2. They've lost several games by 2 and 3 and 4 points. Bentonville's one of the best teams in Arkansas. I think they lost them by 4. Lost to Columbia Hickman, who's ranked number 10 in the state, by 2. Lost to Sparta by 3 in the blue and golds. I mean, it's just been one game after another like that. And so I hope they don't get it figured out tonight, but they'll be ready to play. It don't matter what our records are. It's been like this ever since I've been here. It'll be a good atmosphere. I'm sure it'll be a good game. And, you know, we're just going to have to make plays down the stretch and make free throws like we've been doing. And if those things happen, I think we'll be okay.
Well, we're all excited. Like you said, it's one of the biggest games of the year. Like you said, it doesn't matter if they have a losing season, we have a losing season, or they have a winning season, we have vice versa. They're always going to play good against us, and to have it at their house this year, that's a big thing too. So the last thing I want to talk about, we've got the Nixa Invitational Tournament, one of my favorite tournaments of the year, because we get to see so many other teams that we don't normally get to see, right? And levels of play, and some very talented players. We're not going to go into a lot of detail because we're going to talk about this on our next program and get a little more detail about who we're going to be, we're going to see. But just kind of give us a broad overview of what to expect with the NIT this year.
It's probably the best tournament we've had top to bottom in the 22 years I've been here, without a doubt. We're playing Marquette first round. They're 7-3. There's not a team in it that you look at and go, oh, that'd be a good team to play first round. Because let's face it, as the host school, you want to try to make sure you're on the winning side of the bracket. So you try to figure out so when you can play in that first round where you're going to get a win. There is not that team this year. Marquette's good, and on our half is Hillcrest and New Madrid County. New Madrid County was in tournament champions last year, and they've got pretty much everyone back. I mean, it's loaded. Every team is 9-2, 10-1, 7-3, 6. I mean, it's the best tournament top to bottom we've had. And of course, Central's in it, who's really good. Rogersville's in it, who has 1 loss in the season, and Hillcrest, who's got their best player back, and they're 8-3 or 4, something like that. So it's a loaded tournament. It's the best one we've had, I think, since I've been here.
Well, good. Well, the next time we get together, I want to talk about some of those players, especially from New Madrid. Being in tournament champions is not by mistake, and it's an invite in that sense. So we'll talk a little more about that. But good luck tonight. I'm looking forward, folks. We got Corey Kemp coming up next. We're going to meet with senior. He's a shooting guard forward with Corey, one of our seniors. So we're going to meet with him next. But before that, Coach, thank you so much. Good luck tonight. Good luck for the rest of the season. We're going to get together here in another couple of weeks. But folks, we're going to hear now from one of our sponsors. We've got some great sponsors that make this all possible and make the Nixa Live broadcast crew. Gives them the ability to do things like this, which we're very blessed to have them. So a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back and talk to Corey Kemp. Hey folks, we're back. Thank you to our great sponsors. One of our great sponsors that allows us to do the live stream, Central Gas and Propane. They are one of our platinums, and they allow us to do things like this. And so thank you to all of our sponsors for being such an integral part of the Nixa basketball program and Nixa athletics. So folks, I have a great honor, and I'm always excited about bringing seniors in, especially some that have progressed, such as Corey Kemp has. But I'm here. Corey Kemp, welcome to the basketball broadcast. I'm so happy that you've taken time to do this, and that the teachers and the coaches allow you to come and meet with us today. So welcome to the broadcast. So I'm just going to start right off. Congratulations on a great year. Now, we talked to Coach Blancy before. We're 12-0. I think some people expected it. Some people are like, hey, we're going to ride this as long as we can. I think we're going to talk about this. I think there's a chemistry that you guys have. We'll talk about that a little later. But first things first, we're coming off of a huge blue and gold championship game. Hadn't won that since 2014. Tell us how special that was for you, because you've been in a couple of those.
It was really special to me personally. Not being able to play last year in the blue and gold very much because I was a bench player. Also being a senior, this is my last year to do it, get it done, and to share out with Kale, who had struggled to get it for 4 years now. I know Coach definitely wanted it. I wanted it. The teammates wanted it. It was just a special moment between all of us, and you could really tell that we really wanted it the whole time.
Well, congratulations. And one thing that we talked to Coach Blanchett about is during that Fairgrove game, you guys never gave up. It was always so close, and hats off to you guys. They play a different style of game, and I think that's what's so interesting about the blue and gold is you see some of those, single A, double A, and 3A teams that we don't normally see through the season, and we get to mix it up with them, and that's what makes it exciting, because really anything can happen, because they've got some really good players. They've got a really good post player, one of the best in the area, that's young. So congratulations on that. I was super excited for you guys. And especially that last win, you guys pretty handedly, took control of that game, and I don't think you guys ever looked back from the start of that game. So one thing that I want to talk to you about is you guys seem to have a gel or a chemistry on the court, and you see this some years and some years you don't. In the past, we've had really good players where we haven't seen that chemistry on the floor. Tell me why do you think that is? Why do you guys gel so well? What is that chemistry you guys have?
Well, first of all, it probably come from we've been playing with each other since we've been very young, and playing on club teams together, and also understanding what our role is on the team. Not everyone's trying to fight to score or to get certain stats the whole season. We're all just trying to win a game together. And these bench players, they don't always get to play as much, or even the starters don't get to play as much. But when the bench players come in, they're willing to do what needs to be done, even if it's very hard for them.
Well, and you mentioned that, when we first started this conversation, you mentioned that last year you were a bench player. And I think that's the key is, like you said, you get buy-in from those bench players, and they know that their time is coming, and they know that if they do get the nod, and we are blessed with a deep bench this year, we really are. So it's interesting that you would say everybody has their role and everybody knows their role, because I think that's just like any other organization, any business you go to, everybody has a job that they need to do. And so far, hey, we're 12-0. We're going to ride it. We got Ozark tonight. We're super excited about that game. So the next thing I want to talk about is you're a senior this year, and sometimes when we ask kids this, we ask players this every time we get to meet with you guys. As a senior, sometimes that responsibility is just placed upon you, and some kids handle it well, some kids don't. How does it feel to Corey Kemp to be a senior role in basketball, Nixa basketball this year?
It feels great to me. I like to be a leader. I don't always like to follow what people say sometimes, but I also want to set a good example for those younger than me, and I believe that I'm doing that right now. My fellow seniors, they're doing great as well. I know Kale and Noah have really been leaders this year, so is Karsten, even though he's on the bench. Being able to communicate and talk to younger guys has been an amazing thing to do.
So that's good that, like we said, there's quite a few seniors on the team this year. Some of you saw the floor a lot last year, some of you didn't see the floor. So let's talk a little bit about that. How did you prepare for the season? What did you do this summer? Because you really stepped up. I mean, if you look at your level of play this year, not to say that you weren't a factor last year, but you're a factor this year. And to have that level of play that you have this year, what did you do this summer to not only physically prepare, but you know as well as I do, basketball is a very mental game. What did you do this summer to prepare?
Well, on the mental side, just think to myself, like, I want to get it done this year. This is my last year to get done. So it's kind of like a sense of urgency to get everything myself prepared, my teammates prepared, and then on the physical side, just playing summer basketball in AAU, playing against better competition than I normally have, and really just looking to score and better my defense over the summer.
Well, it sure helped, and whatever you did, I know the level that you play in the summer is very high, and I know you guys travel a lot. You see a lot of kids outside of just the area, which is good for you. But also we've got some really good players in Southwest Missouri, and I think sometimes the folks from the north don't understand the level of basketball that we have down here. So congratulations on whatever you're doing, keep doing it, and I know you're going on to the next level to play, so congratulations for that too. So, last question, I always ask players, superstitions. Is there anything that you do the day of the game that is different than what you do on a day where you don't play? I mean, do you keep a dollar bill in your sock all day? You turn your shirt inside out. What are the superstitions that Corey Kemp does? Do you drink the same Red Bull every morning, or what is it that you do on game days that you don't do any other time?
I change my playlist that day. I lock in. I have a specific playlist on Spotify called Baller, and so I just lock in and get ready to go.
All about the tunes.
Yes.
All right, well, Corey, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining us. Good luck tonight, folks. We got Ozark tonight. I mean, I don't care if we were 12-0 and Ozark was 0-12, it would be a game of the year because they always play well against us. That atmosphere is always intense. They're always going to bring their best. They're always going to be ready for us. That coach has been there for several years and does a great job. So good luck tonight. I hope you guys bring home a W. We got the Nixa Invitational coming up. That's exciting. We're going to talk about that the next time we get on the broadcast. So, folks, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us. Corey, thank you again. Hey, if you can't join online or you can't or I should say, if you can't go to the game tonight, please join online to the Nixa Live crew. They do a great job at telecasting and keeping us on the floor even though we can't be there. Until next time, have a great week and go Eagles. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is our second broadcast. We call this our first quarter, but this is our second broadcast for Lady Eagles basketball. I'm here with head coach Perryman. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors who make it possible for us to do this. It's something that I get to do. I don't have to do this. I love doing this and meeting with you guys, and I know that the folks out there, Coach, love hearing the inside detail of the locker room talk that we don't get to hear. And sometimes, high school kids, they don't share that with us, even as parents when they come home. Hey, what'd Coach say? But that's what we like to do. So folks, welcome back. Coach, welcome. Thank you again.
Hey, thank you. We love talking about our kids.
I know you're super excited. It's a great day here at Nixa High School after that win last night. We're going to talk about that, so I don't want to jump the gun too much. But the first thing I want to talk about is, as we sit here today, you're 11-2.
Yep.
Okay, lost a really good class of seniors. We talked about that the last time.
Yeah.
Lost a really good class of seniors last year, but have some really good seniors step up and have some really good younger players step up today. How are you feeling today?
I think we're a better team, overall. I just think we're a little bit deeper. And some of those kids that were on our bench last year have developed, and now they're playing just so important, starting positions. We battled through some injuries. Battled through some inexperience, and I look at us now, and we're putting 9 players on the floor almost every night, and who are contributing. And I just think that makes us a little bit more well-rounded team. Our schedule, I could argue, is even more difficult than last year, and we're sitting at 11-2. There's not a lot of people who thought we'd be in this position, and I feel like our kids just bring it every day, and every opportunity they're given, they're proving themselves one way or another. You know, it may not be in the win column, such as the Pink and White Championship, which we'll talk about in a second, but they proved a lot to a lot of people that night, even though they didn't come away with that first place trophy.
Yeah, and I think you can see that, our win last night in Ozark,
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk to Noah Clark a little bit about
Yeah.
this here in just a second, but our win last night, we won in overtime by 4 at Ozark,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
That's a testament, because I don't care if, we were both in a losing season, we would both play really, really good
Yeah.
against each other. And so, I think that's a testament to, like we said, some of those younger kids stepping up, and some of those other kids taking on that role where, high school kids, they could go either way,
Yep.
right? So-
Well, and Ozark's record might be very deceiving because they play a tough schedule. They probably play one of the toughest schedules next to us, and their coach is new this year. He's done a phenomenal job. They were prepared for us last night. They were ready. There were some things we tried to do that they flat out wouldn't let us do. And I'm proud of our kids. I felt like we put ourselves in that position to get to overtime. Defensively, we were not that great. We're going to talk about it today at practice and watch it. But when it came down to it, we did what it took to win. And it is difficult to go there to play first conference game. Hadn't played in 12, 13 days, and you're starting off the first of the year our conference play with a rivalry. And I'm just proud of our kids. Nora was big. We knew they were going to pressure her. She stepped up. JC Bray had 10 assists. I mean, that's leading to 20 or 30 points. We held our turnovers to 7. We had 7 turnovers, and that's been kind of an Achilles. So even though we weren't quite where we wanted to be and where we thought we should be, we did what it took to pull that out. And it's a conference win. Hey, a win is a win at this point.
Yeah, and it's a W in the
Yeah.
win column,
Yep.
right? Which we'll take those anyway. We can go.
Absolutely. Ugly, pretty, great,
That's right.
rough, we'll take them.
That's right. That's right. So I want to talk about the Pink and White, a very coveted tournament.
Yeah.
The atmosphere is different.
Yeah.
The teams are different.
Mhm.
You never know what you're going to get.
No.
One thing that we noticed is I really felt like we got to that championship game. We'll talk a little bit more about that game with Greenwood from Arkansas. I really feel like we got to that game in good fashion. I mean, if you look at the point spread, we really, I'm not going to say dominate, but we really did a really good job at making sure that, hey, we're the team to beat. We're the team that's going to make it to the championship game, and then you're going to have to beat us there. Tell us a little bit about how you felt our level of play was up to that championship game, the Pink and White.
As soon as that bracket came out, I looked at it and I was stressed about every round. You're playing good teams. I did not think Ava was a 6 seed, and I thought we did a phenomenal job on Sarah Mendel, their leading scorer. Nora was really good there, and then I knew we were going to be able to help off on some of those other kids, and our kids just knew as we're face guarding her who we could rotate off of, and our defense was unbelievable. And we wanted to run. We thought a college floor was going to help us the entire time, so we're going to use that to our advantage. And then our West Plains game, you're coming off a 10-point win the week before. It's West Plains. It's a huge rivalry. They're well coached. And to turn around and almost double that, to have them down 20 in the last minute, and it ended up being 14 with some substitutions, but to be able to have that much of a margin gave our kids some confidence going in. And obviously, we ran into Greenwood, Arkansas, who won state last year, who's poised to win state this year. They've got 3 D1 kids, and they're just very well coached and very strong and physical. I mean, we competed to the final buzzer, and we learned a lot about ourselves that week and that night, and we spent the last week working on those things that kept us from winning. And I think we did those things a little bit better last night.
Yeah, and I think, hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us again, and thank you to our great sponsors. One of our great sponsors for the Nixa Live crew is Central Heating and Gas. Thank you so much, or Central Propane, for being such a great sponsor for the Nixa Live. It allows us to do things just like this, and then allows us to do things like we did last night. We're going to talk to Nora a little bit about how was that with the chemistry last night against Ozark, and a big win.
Yes.
Congratulations, a great win last
Thank
night.
you.
But they allow us to do things like that, and so if you can't make a game, make sure you tune in to our YouTube channel, and then go to Nixa Public Schools. You can catch all the live action. The students do a great job at doing that. So, and that's what allows us to talk to. I'm so excited to talk to Nora Clark. Nora, welcome to our live broadcast. Thank you so much. I know that you've got other obligations, and thank you so much for taking time to be with us today. And congratulations on a great season so far.
Appreciate it.
You guys had a great, and we're going to talk a little bit about what volleyball does, kind of preludes into basketball. You had a great volleyball season. You guys had some really big wins, but that brings that momentum into basketball. You guys are 11-2 as we speak. We beat Ozark last night. It's a good day,
yes,
right?
It's a good win last night, yes.
So let's talk a little bit about Nora Clark. I think sometimes people don't understand the pressure sometimes that kids feel as adults. I think it's different sometimes. So tell us a little bit about, do you feel the pressure because you're an integral part of this team? You're a big scorer on this team. And we need Nora Clark to play good every night. Do you feel pressure when you step out on the floor that you have to perform like that every single day?
I know that I have to perform like that, but it's not like a pressure thing. It's like, especially because I did commit, like it's just like I get to go play, and whatever becomes of it, becomes of it. But I know I have to perform every single night. I know if, my shot on the outside isn't falling, I have to get in and score. I know if my shot altogether isn't falling, I have to distribute really well, I have to go rebound, And there's so many different aspects to the game. So you can't just rely on one part of the game, you have to play a complete game. So, if one part of my game isn't there that night, then I go and I work on the other parts of the game. So, that's how I kind of look at it. So it isn't really a pressure thing, but, it's kind of a fun pressure, if that makes sense.
No, that's good, and I think you embrace that.
Yes.
And I think where some kids fall off of that is when they don't embrace it, they feel that pressure, and it sounds like you handle it well. And I really like how you put that. You get to go play at the next level, and I think that's awesome. And congratulations, by the way,
Yes, thank you.
for that. So let's talk a little bit about your athleticism. You play volleyball.
Yeah.
We got to see you in a lot of games this year. You had a lot of kills. I don't know you have, but you hit the ball very, very well, especially cross court. So tell us a little bit about how volleyball, you use that, and how volleyball prepares you for basketball season, which 11-2. It's wonderful. It's great. So tell us a little bit how volleyball prepares you for that.
My parents have always stressed for me personally being a multi-sport athlete, just because it helps you with other parts of your game that you may not have got to touch with not playing a different sport. And so volleyball has really helped me with my vertical. I feel like I can jump pretty well just because I play volleyball. Blocking people's shots, that's like a timing thing. You don't want to get called a foul on that. So volleyball really helps me with my timing on that. But yeah, my jumping and my timing, that's probably where volleyball helps me with basketball the most.
Well, you can see it. We love watching you play. I love watching you play volleyball. But I really like the up and down that you guys do. You handle it really, really well, and your vertical. I don't know what it is, but I know that you mix it up on the inside, and that's a huge part of this team. Because at this age, you've got to have someone that can have the strength to play inside, and do some things, but still shoot on the outside. I mean, that's the whole ball of wax. That's the whole thing. So you're senior this year.
Yeah.
Tell us what it's like, because you've been in this role. You played a lot last year. Tell us what it's like to be a senior. What is that role like this year on the team?
Before, I was a leader on my team, but I felt like more as a role player. And then this year I really stepped into being a leader. It just comes with being a senior. And, all the girls I feel like looked up to me. They trust me with what I'm doing, and I have to trust them back with what they're doing. And so it's been really rewarding to have them look up to me. And so being a senior, it just is very, very, very rewarding.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because you guys have a really good bench,
Yes.
right? Your JV team is phenomenal.
Very deep.
And if you have not seen the JV play, some of you only come for the varsity games. You need to come for the JV games as well, because they're very good, and some of those girls play a factor into, and young. We've got a young JV team. So tell me a little bit about how that excites you to see when you've got 4 or 5 players sitting on the bench that if someone in the starting five just doesn't have it that night, which is very possible,
Mhm.
tell us how comforting that is to look over there and see that you've got such a deep bench. Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
Well, most teams that we scout, you know, we always talk about if we get to their bench, then, you know, we're good. Like, we won that game. And with us, it's not like that at all. Like, you know, if someone's having an off night, like we know we have someone on the bench that can come in and they're going to do just as good of a job as they would have done or even better. You know, and it's just, you know, luck of the draw, whoever plays that night, but I think everyone that plays on the bench does such a great job. Like, I trust every single one of them. I think they do great. I think they know their role, and they don't try to do anything outside their role. So I think that's what makes it such a good team, you know, because they're not trying to do too much, but, you know, they're doing just enough, and that's what we need them to do.
And that's that chemistry
Yes.
that we talk about.
Yes.
You know, you can have really good players and not have that chemistry.
Right.
Maybe win some games, but not win as many games.
Right.
Because you couldn't do it by yourself.
Mhm.
So I think that's a great answer. So we're now in the meat of the season, right? We're about halfway through,
Mhm.
but have some really big games. The Nixa Invitational Tournament, you know, we talked to Coach Perryman about that before this.
Yeah.
So what are your goals for the Lady Eagles as we're in the meat of the season, as we move forward? What are your goals for the Lady Eagles this year?
You know, we are obviously, you know, still very young, still very inexperienced, but I think towards the next couple of games, because we have some big games coming up, I think just for our younger players to start growing up, I think they already have started to grow up, but just for them to get there finally, I think that's such a big part in these bigger games, because, you know, we go and play Carl Junction on Thursday. That's going to be a big test for us, and then we come around and we'll play our Nixa Invitational Tournament, and, you know, there's so many big games in there. I think there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of room for them to use that to grow up. So I think that's what we need to work on. I think that's what we need to do, and I think they're going to exceed my expectations, hopefully.
So let's talk about the game last night.
Yes.
We beat Ozark
Mhm.
at Ozark,
Yes.
okay, by 4 in overtime,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
What was your conversations at halftime with how you guys were playing? What are you guys going to do as players?
Yeah.
You know, we talked to Coach Perman about it, but what were you guys thinking and communicating as players?
You know, we all walked in that locker room, and the first thing that came out of our mouths was we were playing horrible, and we're still up by 1. So, you know, we're gonna be fine as long as we, you know, get our crap together in the second half. And, you know, we weren't that worried in the sense that, you know, they were playing really good, and we know in conference it's gonna be a grind because everybody's gonna play their best, and also everybody gives their best game against us. We just know that. And, you know, we come in and we're like, we're playing really bad, but we're still up by 1. So if we play just even a little bit better, we're going to win this game and we're going to be fine. And then whenever we actually got into overtime, we've been into overtime games already. And so we go, you know, this is what we do. Like, we're good. We're made for this. We're going to pull this out. We're going to be fine. And so that was kind of our conversation, and, you know, we came out with the win. So.
Well, hey, you guys pulled it together. You came out with a W, which Ozark is a tough place to play.
Yes.
I don't care if we were 0 and 12, they were 0 and 12, it would still be the game of the year just because of who they are.
Mhm.
So last question for you, and the folks out there love to hear things like this. So game days,
Mhm.
what are your superstitions? What do you differently do on game days that you don't normally do on any other day?
So on game days, my mom always bakes me cinnamon rolls, and they're so good. She bakes like 8 of them, and I usually eat 6 or 7, and they're really, really good. They're like little mini ones, so that's what I do. That's what she does for me every single game day.
Well, can we join you next game day?
Yes,
Okay,
they're
so
very
folks,
good.
hey, you heard it right there. Miss Clark, we're going to join you next game day for some awesome cinnamon rolls and chocolate milk. How's that?
That
So,
sounds good.
hey, Nora, thank you so much. It's
Thank you.
always a pleasure to get to talk to you. You're very intelligent. You love the sport, and you love your teammates, and you love the atmosphere at Nixa High School. And you'll always be an Eagle. And
Yeah.
I can sense that inside, no matter where you go or what you do in your career. So, folks, thank you so much for joining us this week. Again, if you can't make any of our games, make sure you tune in to our YouTube channel and then go to Nixa Public Schools. You'll see it'll pop up right there. It'll say Nixa Basketball or Girls Basketball Live. So make sure you tune in to that. Nixa Live Crew does a great job. Thank you again, all of our sponsors, Larson's and Wise Guys Printing, and all of those guys who do such a great job making sure all of this is possible here at Nixa High School.
until next time, hey, we'll see you after the Nixa Invitational Tournament. Make sure you come out. Some great games, great teams, great players. We're super excited. We'll see you next time.